Verse number 18. Jnanam jneyam parigyata trividha karma chodana karanam karma karteti trividha karma sangraha. As now we are in verse number 18. So we have been seeing this chapter 18. From verse number 1 to 12 we saw Karma Yoga Sadhana. And from verse number 13 to 17 we saw Jnana Yoga Sadhana. And these sadhanas that Lord Krishna summarized, not out of his mind, but in keeping with scriptures. So the Karma Kanda mainly highlights about Karma Yoga Sadhana. So anything that one does to purify the mind. So when we say purification of the mind, one also need to be very clear, need to understand that purification involves in the form of practicing anything. It can be japa, it can be puja, it can be going to the temple, it can be doing japa, doing dhanam, yajna, or serving others. So anything that one does to purify the mind, that is called very carefully Karma Yoga Sadhana. And all purification is meant for preparedness. Once the mind is prepared, then it comes Jnana Yoga Sadhana. The person should come to Jnanam. So when we say Jnanam, very carefully we say, where your mind is involved to know. So to know yourself as a free person. To know yourself as a secure person. Because you keep doing to become secure. See, whole process is becoming secure. If you ask yourself, whatever you are doing, morning when you get up, you go to office, you do this, you do that. Everything you do for what? To become secure. So you work for security. But you don't have to work for security. More you work for security, more you become insecure or not. Just observe yourself. The more one works for security, the more one becomes insecure. The basic thing, nobody talks to us. And even though you listen in Vedanta class, you keep this Vedanta class in Vedanta, then after that you close it, okay? Swamiji, we have our own thing to do, okay? This is just time pass, okay? But my business, my job, my this, that is more important. My family is more important. Good. Wish you all the best, okay? So coming to the point here, that 1 to 12, then 13 to 17, these two topics were being taught. Now, Lord Krishna thought of, okay, fine, from this verse number 18 to verse number 40, now is going to summarize the Bhagavad Gita in a different way. In fact, if you ask me, verse number 17 itself, the last verse, the Bhagavad Gita summarization is completed. Because where he talked, two types of people, Jnani and Ajnani, what happens to them. So with that, actually, summary is over. Bhagavad Gita is completed. But as usual, he thought of why not? Let me also talk a little bit differently. So what he did is, now he wants to bring few topics. So now he is going to introduce 6 topics And each topics is going to divide into three categories. We'll be seeing in details. So the division will be based on sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. Now when we look at this thing, so first what he does is, he looks at human being. So he wants to divide the activities of human beings first. So if you look at all your activities, broadly classified into two categories. So what we call, the first one is called Jnana Vyavahara. Second one is called Karma Vyavahara. So that means Jnana Vyavahara means knowing process. Karma Vyavahara means doing process. First comes Jnana Vyavahara, knowing process. If you don't know something, will you work for it? That's why we say this is the process. Janati, Ichhati, Yatate. This is the process. Janati means first person knows. So one knows. Once knows, then Ichhati, desires. Then once the Ichha Sakti, the desire comes, then Yatate goes behind it, strives for it, puts effort. Janati, Ichhati, Yatate. That's why if you do not know something, you will not. Once knowing, then either you develop the liking, or your likings are more strong and that object or person or situation doesn't match with you, then you develop dvesha, disliking. So then what you do? Either you will have ichha, desire to be closer, or you will have desire to be away. Then third one is what? You work for it. That's why if you observe, this is how the whole life is. That first, in Vedic tradition, up to, let us say, 24 years, almost, the time was being dedicated for Janati. That's why a child is being given everything. Parents, the society, invest everything for the child to know. Can you see this culture? But I don't know where from this Western culture came. I call it not Western culture, it's called West culture. So West people developed a culture that is called Western culture. Where from it came, I myself don't understand till now. That so arrogant that they have to work in between. So after 10th, they want to take a break and they want to earn money. So start earning money, work while studying. It doesn't work. It's a sick mentality. And whoever I have seen personally, whoever earns money while studying, that person will be super arrogant in life. I have never seen a person who is not arrogant. Because that Janati process is not complete. That humility will not come. Every time say, look, I struggle to study. I put effort to study. I was not taken care. And of course, there are people also after 24 here, they also depend upon parents. That is also wrong equally, okay? They are also good for nothing. Both are bad. Like in Indian case, some cases, till they die also they have to depend upon. That's also wrong. So what I am highlighting here is that this janati ichhati yatate mechanism always depends upon how much knowledge you have acquired, the process of putting effort. So once you put effort, he says, look, this jnana vyavahara has its three factors. So the knowing process involves three factors. So also karma vyavahara means doing process. And technically we call in our Shastra as Triputi. Remember this word, okay? So that I will not repeat any other time. Triputi. So this triad we call three things. So jnana vyavahara, knowing process, involves three things. So also karma vyavahara, doing process. So these three factors that is involved, these three factors as called triputi, three things you can say triad. So that is in Sanskrit triputi. Dvanda, two things, triputi. So that you understand whenever they talk triputi, you understand. So what are they? The verse number 18 will be talking this, so that once we discuss this aspect, then we'll go to the verse just like that. So he says, look, if you look at jnanam, the process of knowing involves what? Definitely it needs jnanam, knowledge. So how the knowledge will know? It has to have a jnata, knower. So here he says parigyata. Then third is what? Jnayam, the object of knowledge. So jnanam, jnata, and finally jnayam, the object of knowledge. Jnayam, jnanam, knowledge of object, if you have to play with the words, okay? So object of knowledge, knowledge of object, okay? Two. Then third one is called knower. So if this is the case, same thing also with reference to karma vyavahara, the process of doing. So there what happens? You need karta, the doer, what we call as subject. Then of course you need what we need? We need karma, the action, and also we need karanam. Karanam means instrument by which things being done. So karanam, karma, karta iti. Now he says, look, when you look at this, always this jnana vyavahara means the process of knowing becomes the cause of karma vyavahara. This is the most important point to observe. Jnana vyavahara, the process of knowing, becomes the cause of process of doing. And technically, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, karma chodana iti. So karma chodana means promoter of actions. That's why if you observe, like 50 years back, people never knew what is air condition. There was no knowledge. That's why they never went for it. That's why if you look at especially those who are staying in the mountains, in remote villages, they are not having much desire. Whatever things they have, with that they maintain, they manage. But nowadays everybody is well informed, okay? That's the sad part of it. Rightly or wrongly, don't ask, okay? Then what happens? The more the person knows, now the more the person wants. So that's why we say knowledge creates desire. Remember this thing. And which knowledge? You have to understand very. The knowledge of opera, knowledge of any other thing except paravidya. Whereas paravidya means knowledge of self. Self knowledge removes the desire. So more you are having, let us say, informations, you have knowledge of other sciences, the more you want to acquire, the more you want to engage yourself. If not physically, mentally you go crazy. That's why scientist means what? Hairs are not taken care properly. Because they have been busy always thinking, they don't think of themselves. So there are one fellow was there in India. So purposefully he kept his hair long. And he planned. And his style became different, and finally he became a great person, okay? So I always say, if you want to know that fake it to make it. And he was the best fellow who made it possible. Fake it and make it. But he's a great fellow, okay? He was a great fellow. Now he's no more, however. So hope you understand whom I'm attacking, okay? Coming back to the point. So here, karma chodana means we say jnanam karma chodana, because these are technical words you have to remember. So jnanam, the knowledge, promotes karma. So knowledge is the promoter of karma. Now which knowledge? We say objective science. Aparavidya, not paravidya. Because why paravidya cannot do it? Because we have seen that in second chapter, prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha stita prajna stadochyate. When Arjuna asked the question, who is stita prajna? So that time Lord Krishna very nicely, that all the kamas, those who have been withdrawn, and how it is withdrawn? By the knowledge of self. That's why the person is satisfied within one's own self. So atmani eva atmana tushtaha. So that means the self-knowledge is not karma chodana. It cannot promote the karma. It is not a promoter of karma either. So that's why here aparavidya becomes karma chodana. Whereas paravidya allows to resolve all karma. I think with this background, let us take the verse. Jnanam geyam parigyata trividha karma chodana. So parigyata means the knower. So the one who knows very well, the knower. Then comes jnanam, geyam, the object of knowledge. Then jnanam, knowledge of object. Trividha, so these are threefold, constitute this threefold, triputi, they are called triputi. And interestingly, he says, look, they are called here is that some, how come, where from this comes? Okay. Karma, okay. So they are called karma chodana. So when I am looking at the translation, so I have made a mistake somewhere. So I understood now. So previous someone word has been samprakrititaha is previous verse. So karma chodana. So karma chodana means they are the promoter of action. And not only that, same thing also it says, look, karanam karma kartati trividhaha. So that means karanam, the instrument, the means of doing, karma, action, and karta, the doer. So these are called karma sangraha. These threefold karma sangraha, framework of action. Okay, I understand. But what do you mean by? So what I am going to get out of it? But don't worry. When Lord Krishna says, so he has purpose. Let us read the next. Jnanam karma cha karta cha tridheva guna vedataha projyate guna sankhyaane yathavat srunotanyapi. Says, look, you also need to see very carefully. So first he takes these 6 factors. So what are they? He says, look, jnanam karma cha karta is called threefold. And interestingly, guna vedataha. So guna vedata means that based on gunas. So what is guna? So guna actually, even though we translate as quality, actually this guna does not belong to Vedanta. This guna concept doesn't belong to Vedanta. Actually it is borrowed from Sankhya philosophy. Also technically you have to understand this thing. Because Vedanta never criticizes, never opposes anything. Wherever the best picks it up. But only those who stand for Vedanta like Shankaracharyas, they criticize. This is the sad part of it. So, because a Vedantin, the one who is the embodiment of Vedanta, must not criticize, must be more constructive. But because of insecurity, they criticize. And let me not get into. So because somebody asked me, Swamiji, will you please put your words regarding Shankaracharya? So that's why this thought came. Okay, I am a problem person. Okay, if you inject anything, this jnana vyavahara, automatically karma vyavahara comes. Okay. However, let me not get into. I'll later on do this thing. So he says, look. This jnana, karma, cha karta, these 3. Jnana means the knowledge, karma means the action, and karta, the doer, also are divided into 3 categories based on the guna. So based on, you can say, qualities. We have discussed a lot of things related to guna. So that means what? So we have 3 gunas. Sattva, Raja and Tama. So that means what? So we have to look at Jnanam, Sattva Jnanam means Sattvic Jnanam, Rajasic Jnanam and Tamasic Jnanam. Sattvic Karma, Rajasic Karma and Tamasic Karma. Sattvic Karta, Rajasic Karta and Tamasic Karta. That's why he says, Prochyate Guna Sankhyaane Yathavat Srunu Tanyapi. So this also in need to yathavat, as they are being talked. So where they are being talked, also you need to look at yathavat. He says, look, here being guna sankhyaane. So in the Shastra of what? Sankhya philosophy. So how it has been talked. Now he says, look, they are being considered as trividha eva, threefold. So because they are threefold, now based on guna vedataha according to the distinction of gunas. Now, srunu, may you listen to tani api, them also yathavat, as they are. Now, when we look at this point, also you need to see very carefully. We need to be very carefully look at that jnanam. When we talk here, all jnanam are related to this apara vidya. Don't bring para vidya, not self-knowledge. Or else it will be a big confusion. And secondly, also you need to see that when this is all about apara vidya, now this apara vidya means is nothing to make you free. Suppose you are doing apara vidya, means studying apara vidya. For apara vidya sake, no problem. But if you are studying para vidya for apara sake, like I am playing with the words, let us say every Brahmin, Pandit, especially those who do rituals, they have to learn, let us say, Taittiriya Upanishad. They do chant. In fact, they will also chant, na karmana, na prajaya, dhane, na tyage, neike, amrutatvamanasu. Hey, this is Paravidya. This is not Aparavidya, okay? But they chant for the sake of what? Not to free themselves, but to have security, get some money. You understand the concept? So the Paravidya, if it is meant for to free yourself, that's why you are attending classes. Are you attending classes to free yourself or to have information? Or you can say, oh, I have been attending Swamiji's class for last, don't ask me how many years, okay? Because I see very nicely people come, especially in Chennai. Chennai is a very beautiful place related to this because it's a hub, okay? I have seen, I have heard. You know, I have heard Swami Chinmayananji. Well, those days Chinmayananji used to, rowing personality. Okay. Then I understand, okay, when somebody starts with Swami Chinmayananji Maharaj, so that means I have to keep quiet, okay? Better not open mouth. Okay, good. I also have listened to Swami Dayananji. And of course, they will go one step ahead. Chinmayananji used to come to my home. Dayananji also used to come to my home. Whether it's true or not, don't ask, okay? Because you cannot verify. Then, in fact, I wanted to say, hey, you don't listen to neither Chinmayananji nor Dayananji nor to me, okay? Don't waste my time, okay? So now, I have not only that, I have listened to other Swamijis. Anybody and everybody. Also, I listen to New Age fellows. Means you understand, this fellow listens for what? Is it listening to free himself? Or listening to arrogate himself? Can you see this point? So most of the time people listen to Vedanta for a different purpose. Somebody told me very nicely, Swamiji, I want to attend your class. I said, for what? It seems you talk very logically and my mind becomes sharp. Now tell me, is it Paravidya or this Paravidya becomes Aparavidya? That's why if you are attending class to free yourself, you will be able to see the change in you. Whereas if you are attending class for something except freeing yourself, remember, this becomes another burden for you. That's why you will not enjoy the class, it becomes a burden. And if it becomes burden, if not today, tomorrow you will collapse. You cannot stand long. It's impossible. That's why many people get dropped from Vedanta, not because of anything, because of this reason. In fact, already I have made a post. In after 2 days it will appear. More of it, we will see. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.